This video is brought to you by my two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist and The Blues Guitar Bible. Want to learn about modes, harmony, scales, chord substitution and keys? Or maybe you're interested in supercharging your blues guitar rhythm and lead chops. Whatever you're interested in, I guarantee you will be hitting the fast lane to progress with either of these works. Both feature video demonstrations and tutorials, loads of tabs and jam tracks to play along with, and I promise you, everything is explained in crystal clear plain English. Check out the links in the description for more details. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. And also welcome to this new series of videos that I'm doing to replace the solo analysis videos that I was doing on a Monday. I explained why I'm kind of retiring that series of videos for the moment in last week's video. And I put up a poll on the community post thing on YouTube saying, what do you want to replace that with? Either a series of videos on blues lead guitar or a series of videos on melodic rock lead guitar. And it was a pretty even split in terms of the results. Some days I would look at that poll and the blues thing would be ahead by a whisker, and other days the melodic rock option would be ahead by about a whisker. And a couple of people in the comments there said, well, why not alternate? So that is what we're doing. Today I'm going to take you through just a few things that I've kind of picked up on from the playing of one Mr. Carlos Santana. This is almost kind of going back to a series of videos that I had when I first started doing this YouTube thing. You might recall, really long-term members or viewers rather might recall me doing the What I Learned From series of videos. And that's kind of where we're going today, just resurrecting that a little bit with, as I say, Mr. Santana in the spotlight. Here's a little solo where, I'm not trying to do a Carlos Santana impersonation. I'm not, kind of auditioning for a tribute band role or anything like that. It's just a few little aspects of his playing that I occasionally, well, quite often, incorporate into my own solos, and hopefully you can gain something from this too. Here's the solo. And in order to get a little bit closer to Carlos's tone there, I actually had a little EQ pedal going on with these kind of settings here. Just a cheap and cheerful little Behringer graphic equalizer. And if you put a sort of big hump in the mid-range like that, it simulates that half-cocked wah sound that is something that he was, still is probably quite fond of using. Anyway, that's the solo, and here's how I was thinking as I was playing it.
Here is the explanation.
Okay, so as is customary in these situations, we'll begin by looking at the chord sequence I was playing over, which goes like this. So obviously we're in sort of a D minor tonality here. We'll discuss the chords a little bit more in a moment. But let's just take a moment to think about the rhythm there. Basically, as you could see on that little clip, it's a cha-cha rhythm, basically just something to give it a little bit of a Latin groove. And all you got to do is emphasize or accent beats 1 and 2 in the first bar of the 2-bar cycle, then the and of beat 3 and the and of beat 4. Then in the next bar, you don't do anything on the first 2 beats, and then you hit beats 3 and 4 with an accent. So if I just tap that out on the desk, we're going to get this: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Okay, playing that on a chord, we would get something like this. Let's use a D minor chord. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. That's a cha-cha rhythm. Put that onto any song and it immediately gives it that sort of Latin groove thing going on. So anyway, we're going to be using D minor pentatonic here. D, F, G, A and C. That's kind of the bedrock of what we're doing. And one common theme that you'll see emerging in pretty much all of these melodic rock videos will be having some understanding of the notes that are contained in the chords we're playing over. So there was a lot of D minor to G chord changes going on there. Incidentally, what that means, if I just, it's easier to do this on this knee, if you have a minor chord, there's a D minor going to a major chord like that. So basically a minor chord with its root note there going to a major chord with its root note there, then you've essentially got the Dorian mode. Okay, and that D minor to G part of the chord sequence is in the Dorian mode, and that is a particular favourite of Uncle Carlos. He likes to do stuff in the Dorian mode. Oh yeah, come over, that's Dorian. Evil Ways is Dorian. Loads of songs use that. And that G chord contains a really spicy note that we can include. So there's the D minor pentatonic. And we can see that the G chord has this B note in it. Now you can use that B note as a featured note over the D minor chord, over the G major chord rather, but you can also just kind of add it as an additional bit of colour over the D minor chord as well, so you can get things like that, and then just think about using like your octave shape like that to bring the B note down there. You can bring it in the lower octave. Like that, and you know, it works a treat. Try figuring out, you know, if you know your other pentatonic shapes, and if you don't, get them learned, where you can add that B note in elsewhere. Another thing that we like to do just to add a little bit of extra pathos to a minor, especially a minor key or a minor tonality chord sequence or solo, is to add the ninth a lot. Okay, the ninth, if you're not sure what that is, there's your D note there, 2 frets above the root note. That's the root note of what we're playing in D minor. 2 frets above that, you've got an E note. That is the ninth. So you can go like that, just hanging on to that note there. It's just got such a wonderful, you know, kind of dissonance to it that sweetens things up in a nice way. And again, use your octave to bring it down here. You know, if I just play a D minor chord and tap that E note, you can kind of hear that it's got that really sort of lonesome pathos thing going on. Other things that we can say are, you know, characteristic of Carlos's playing. You might have noticed that I stole a Carlos lick from, I think it's from the solo in Smooth. I might transpose it a little bit. But we've got a C sharp note in the A7 chord. By the way, that B flat going to A7 part of the chord sequence, we can think of that as being coming from the D harmonic minor. You know, and he does like to use that quite a bit, as well as the Dorian thing. But that A7 chord has the C sharp note in it, and the lick that I stole was basically I connected the C sharp note in the A7 chord to the E note in the E chord, and just join them chromatically, you know, with a little bit of tremolo picking like that, and that takes you nicely up to the F note in the D minor chord. You know, and again, just that that kind of spicy E flat note in there just adds a little bit of colour. Another place where you can do that sort of chromatic thing is you could perhaps be playing the C note in the D minor pentatonic, drop it down onto that B note that we've discussed for the G chord, and then if you do that at the right point in the chord sequence where it goes from the G chord to the B flat, you can drop it down another semitone there to get the B flat note in the B flat chord. So like that, beautifully kind of melodic kind of touch that you can add, and it's following the chord tones nicely. And to kind of round off, it's also worth talking about a little bit about phrasing. Now, whether it's Samba Pati, or whether it's Santana's version of She's Not There, the old Zombies song, or whether it's Europa, countless Carlos Santana guitar solos that start off with what I call the long pickup. A pickup phrase is just a couple of three notes that you play before the beginning of the first bar. So, you know, basically it's never, I think, a strong strategy, or rarely a strong strategy, to start your solo on beat one of the first bar of the solo. Come in a little bit ahead of time or a little bit later, you know, just either anticipate it or delay it a little bit. And this is what Carlos does here, or what I did here, trying to emulate Carlos. So we have like a count in 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and at the beginning of the piece, that is on the jam track. So I came in on the and of beat 1, so it's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and something like that. Something like that I played, but basically like almost an entire bar of notes from the scales and options we've been discussing before beat 1 of the bar. As I say, you hear that on the intro lick to Europa, Samba Pati, She's Not There, and a bunch of you know, Carlos solos. So to summarise, find additional notes that you can add into your pentatonic, whatever that might be. Carlos's playing is, you know, you can kind of map it out, you know, in terms of positions that he's thinking in, or appears to be thinking in, which are basically the 5 pentatonic boxes. But he makes good use of notes that are found in the underlying chord sequence, either adding them as feature notes over the relevant chord, or just adding them as a little bit of additional colour elsewhere. Adding the 9th to the chord, you know. There's that 9th there. That's something that he likes to do quite a bit. Connecting the notes, you know, chromatically, so, or that kind of thing. That's another nice little tip. And, you know, that final thing I mentioned there, kind of beginning well before the bar line. Try and incorporate some of these things into your solos, and if it's got that sort of Latin groove, which you can always put in, like that, it will sort of evoke just enough of the requisite Santana-esque spirit. So now you know what to do. Go away and have some fun with it. And as always, you'll find a full tab for the solo in both Guitar Pro and PDF formats, along with a clip of me playing it, that explanation you've just seen there, and a jam track to play along with yourself. All of that is up on my Patreon page. There's the address. Link in the description. As I'm sure you know by now, it's $3 or about £3 a month to get access to all of these additional goodies that go along with these YouTube videos. And of course, a massive, heartfelt thank you to everyone who supports me in that or any of the other ways, all of which are downstairs in the description. And that's pretty much it for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed the video and found it informative and useful and possibly even entertaining in some small way. That is, after all, the object of the exercise. And if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so. Why not drop me a like as well while you're at it? Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time, where we just have a beer and a chat on a Friday. It's a great way to kick off the weekend, and I'd love to see you there if you can make it. But for now, I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. And I'll see you next week with a blues-themed video. But for now, I'll say bye for now.